I want to talk about the fallout from terrorism or large scale attacks that happened in Beirut. And it's gonna sound very strange, but it's really something that has been happening for a long time. A lot of people they don't read the little news, the little changes that happen or decisions that some local group took. But it's like when a river is formed, it's made up of a lot of little rivulets or little streams, and these streams they make a big impact. They become a big river. Well, when I was about like 10 years ago, I don't know how many years it has been since Bin Laden got killed, but I used to listen to the news from Iraq, and every week uh, one of Bin Laden's deputies, Zarqawi, he was blowing up something or another. 100 people get killed here, 200 there, blow up mosques, blow up bus stops, blow up where day laborers gather, kill a bunch of people there. And when I was hearing this stuff, I mean, I couldn't do anything to help these people, but I just prayed that these uh, these acts would stop and end, and it did. Zarqawi got blown away, and Bin Laden got killed. Then afterwards, there were many changes. One of the changes that many people they miss is that there was a minority of Sunnis that lived in Baghdad or parts of Iraq, about 50%. So they say, and these Sunnis they usually supported the Ba'athis, the Saddam, or they were sympathetic to Saudi Arabia, but because there was so much internal strife, there were so many explosions here and there. The, the population, the Shia, all the other people, the Kurds, they did not trust this minority, and they were gradually kicked out of their neighborhoods. They were phased out to different parts of Iraq. I don't know where they went, and they gradually were thrown out of the society. And they were the dominant group. Saddam's relatives in Kirkuk, I think, a small town, and his people, Sunnis, that supported him in Baghdad, in other places, they were gradually expelled from society. And we can see this happening with the Americans too. The Americans are getting expelled. There is different groups come in and attack their bases with just simpler weapons. And they can't do anything to help themselves. The government doesn't support them. The parliament doesn't support them. The locals, they don't support them. So the same thing is going to happen to them as it happened to the Sunnis. The minority gradually got phased out, and they lost their businesses, their homes. So there is consequences to terrorism or siding with terrorists or foreign powers that they think otherwise of what the locals think. Well, another thing that happened was that Iran made economic ties with China. China signed a $400 billion contract, or so many years they're going to spend that much money on infrastructure, on roads, on ports. I don't know if you have any idea how much of an impact $400 billion would make in Iran. That's a tremendous amount of money. I mean, if somebody spent that much money in the United States, it would make a huge impact here. But that, Iran's the standard of living isn't high. I don't know how many workers and how many roads and how many factories that buys. And well, concurrently with this, the Iran had contracts with many countries. Like one would be like India, Chabahar, and many Iranian government officials were complaining that the Indians, they don't show up for work, they don't come in and complete their projects. Well, the Hindus, they support Western governments and they kind of dragging their feet and participate in sanctions a little bit. Same with South Korea. It was difficult to get our money. It's like a pack of wolves. When they smell blood, they smell like one wolf is weak or one sheep is there and is bleeding. They all just come in, but then things might change. The bleeding sheep might be a lion. So the things just turn around, and these countries that participate in U.S. sanctions or stupid things they do, they end up paying for enforcement of foreign policy that's stupid, and it serves somebody else, but actually they are paying for it. Like the India got very nervous that they will lose Chabahar contract. The Iranian government can say, no, we're not going to cancel on you. But I bet you the South Koreans, they are not able to buy oil easily from Iran anymore because they're holding our money. And is there reverse pressure, reverse sanctions? I think so. There will be consequences, and countries like South Korea or India or other countries, they are stupid. They're paying to do retarded things that the United States wants to do, like doing their bidding and paying for it too, but the benefits goes to somebody else. But I think that this is going to happen with Lebanon, because I think Lebanon is going to smarten up to this process, and they're going to expel many Western companies, many groups that are friends with French and the Americans. Is there going to be any more future contracts for works in ports or in railways, in infrastructure? No. The same thing that happened to the Sunni minority in Iraq is going to happen to many companies or groups. They're going to become like pariah groups that they become owners of big taxi companies. But not really involved economically. Well, I really suspect that China will be the main investor to rebuild the Beirut port, and also probably China will be having a base in Lebanon. And if it's not China, it's going to be Russia or Iran, or Iranian companies will be selling Lebanon all the equipment to repair or rebuild the place. And then, will we have a base there? Yeah, maybe more bases there than even in Syria. So the attack by Israelis on Lebanon is going to be very self-defeating. But I was hearing that an Israeli movie company wanted to make a documentary, but they went into streets in Beirut and took photos because there's a lot of business there and there's a lot of people walking around. But uh, the reason I'm telling you this is because they didn't want to take these videos and photos or documentary inside Israel, inside Haifa, inside Tel Aviv, because there is no business there. There isn't, the population has been shrinking. The streets are kind of empty, and they have a lot of enemies. Capitalism doesn't work when you have a lot of enemies. People don't trust you. People don't want to go there or be associated with you, or they don't want to talk to you. That's that's not how capitalism works. Capitalism works when a population or people they have faith in you. They trust you. You can advertise there. You can go there easily. You don't worry about getting knocked in the head. Uh, it doesn't work when, say, for example, a French or a British company go into Beirut. The people are very deeply suspicious of them. Hey, maybe these guys are terrorists. Maybe they are the ones that blow up our port. So the future, economic future for Israel, for French companies, for groups that support these foreign states is very bleak. It's similar to the economic future and destinies of the Sunni minority in Baghdad. I don't know. Uh, but also another thing that's probably going to happen, and I talked about this in my other video, is that because of these large terrorist attacks, there is an understanding in the local people and in other countries, Muslim countries, that we cannot live with Israel. We have to, one form or another, get rid of them. I think this will be happening in a war, in an occupation war, or maybe there will be a carpet bombing every military installation, and then a ground invasion, something like that. But my understanding is that many populations will come to this conclusion that in one form or another we have to occupy and get rid of the Zionists, that we cannot live with them. Well, this conclusion was reached in Saudi Arabia, and Houthis are hitting Saudis almost everywhere. They're hitting Riyadh. Something similar will happen in Israel. But I don't think that the United States will become a target so easily, simply because it's very far. But that doesn't mean that the economic fallout will not affect them either. Well, another thing that's happening is that a lot of cities, big cities, like London, Tel Aviv, Los Angeles, are becoming empty of populations. The populations are leaving cities, the businesses are falling apart. I think there is going to be a crash in real estate and rental market. Well, thank you very much for being my YouTube channel. Please subscribe, leave your comment, don't be shy, and we'll be seeing you. I'll have another video in Farsi that talk about the same stuff. Have a nice day.